Hello, I'm Jane Dutton. One of the biggest stories that's dominated the news this week, and surely this weekend, is the Rugby World Cup finals. But before we get onto that, let's talk about the storms in KZN.
This is Eyewitness News.
They were a lot more extreme and destructive than expected. More than 1,000 homes, 42 schools and 7 hospitals were damaged, leaving more than 4,000 people homeless.
Our latest report indicates that nearly 1,000 households have been assessed, with houses damaged, affecting over 4,000 people. In the health sector, 7 health facilities, including 2 hospitals in eThekwini and Ladysmith, were also impacted.
Disaster management teams have been providing relief to the flood-stricken communities. And the KwaZulu-Natal government also called on President Cyril Ramaphosa to send the SANDF to assist. The dramatic hostage saga at the Gold One mine in Mura East Springs played out above and underground, with more than 500 miners emerging on Wednesday after being trapped for 3 days. They were, in some cases, willing pawns in a union turf war between the mine and the Association of Mine Workers and Construction Union.
The impasse at the Gold One Mura East mine ended after a grueling 3 days. This means rival trade unions AMCU and NUM have averted a labour crisis for now. What triggered it was AMCU's bid to be recognised at the mine. AMCU launched a second petition demanding that the company scrap its existing closed-shop agreement with NUM. Under the agreement, NUM has exclusive rights to represent miners since 2012. But some workers believe NUM is no longer acting in their best interests and want AMCU to step in. The matter was taken to the CCMA but couldn't be resolved there either. And that's where the drama began to unfold, and it became a finger-pointing exercise between the two unions. NUM accused AMCU of holding workers hostage using weapons, but AMCU maintains it was all voluntary and was never violent in nature. During the ordeal, miners faced harsh conditions in the belly of the earth, mostly without food, water or ablution facilities. Though tensions have de-escalated for now, the labour dispute is still pending, with the matter headed to court early next year. The mine is now expected to scale up operations as it tries to claw back millions of rands lost this week. Nogukhanya Mdambo, Eyewitness News.
Capturing the youth vote and the rest of ours for next year's 2024 elections, the Independent Electoral Commission kicked off its 2024 national and provincial elections programme. Voter registration will take place on the 18th and 19th of November, with a second one set to follow sometime in the new year.
That in order for the national and provincial elections in 2024 to meet the high expectations that South Africans hold at a time such as this, we will need every citizen and every resident to play their civic duty. This is a call for all hands on deck.
As Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu promises to hit Hamas hard in its imminent ground offensive into Gaza, back at home, the EFF promised to arm Hamas. That's the same group who killed and abducted innocent Israelis 3 weeks ago.
The EFF, when it takes over next year, is going to arm Hamas and make sure Hamas has got the necessary equipment to fight for their freedom. No one must go around saying we are fighting with Jews, not in our name. We are not fighting with Jews. We are fighting with an apartheid Israel, and it shall fall. It's just a matter of time before the illegitimate government of Israel falls.
EFF's Julius Malema led the party's picket at the embassy in Pretoria to show, in their words, solidarity with the people of Palestine in their ongoing conflict with Israel. The worldwide attention on this war hasn't stopped the pounding of the Strip, including the killing of an Al Jazeera journalist who lost his family in Gaza in this week's airstrikes. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres told the Security Council there have been clear violations of international law.
Even war has rules. We must demand that all parties uphold and respect their obligations under international humanitarian law. Take constant care in the conduct of military operations to spare civilians, and respect and protect hospitals, and respect the inviolability of UN facilities, which today are sheltering more than 600,000 Palestinians.
Here's the Israeli ambassador to the UN after the council debate.
The Secretary General must resign. This building was established to prevent atrocities. How can the Secretary General, with his words, justify in any way the terrible atrocities that happened to our civilians, innocent civilians?
And back to the rugby. The makeup of the Springboks team to face New Zealand in the Rugby World Cup final has been announced. Here's Mawande Mateza on what this means for the match.
Scrum half Faf de Klerk and fly half Handré Pollard have replaced Kobus Reinach and Manny Lebok, who are out of the matchday squad completely. The starting 15 features 10 players who started in the last World Cup final back in 2019. And in a remarkable show of confidence, the Boks coaching staff has named 7 forwards and just 1 backline player on the bench. Prop Trevor Nyagane, lock Jean Klein and 8th man Jasper Wiese are the new faces amongst the subs and didn't play in the playoff games against France and England. Meanwhile, hooker Bongimbonambi is free to play after World Rugby found insufficient evidence to charge him over the racism allegations made against him. Kickoff is at 9 p.m. on Saturday. Mawande Mateza, Eyewitness News Sport.
That's me, Jane Dutton. Remember to like and subscribe.
Eyewitness News, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, log on to ewn.co.za or ewn.mobi.